Now, a second Reform UK candidate has defected to the Conservative Party amid allegations of racism and misogyny in the party. Georgie David, when announcing her decision to leave Reform, said that the party and its senior leadership are not racist, but did claim that many of the candidates were indeed racist, misogynistic and bigoted. Ms David encouraged all of her fellow patriots, or patriots if we're English, to endorse the Conservative Party instead. It comes as candidate Liam Booth-Isherwood, who also left Reform UK over the weekend, said there was a significant moral issue within the party. Well, responding to Ms David's Tory endorsement, a Reform UK spokesman said they were very disappointed with her course of action, adding that Ms David was a last-minute addition to their candidate list. Well, joining me now is the former Conservative Minister and Reform UK spokesperson, Anne Widdecombe. Anne, it's not a good look.
Well, I'm not sure, because you were breaking up then, what you're saying is not a good look. But what I would say is this, particularly about Georgie David. She says, you know, the great majority of candidates are racist and misogynist. She won't have met the great majority of candidates. In fact, she will have met very few. So I don't think she can sensibly say that. We expected this, and it happened to us in the Brexit Party right at the end. 4 members suddenly mysteriously defected back to the Conservatives. We expected that some of this would go on at the end. There has also been tremendous pressure from the Tory party on individual candidates to stand down, stand aside. We therefore knew something like this was going to happen. But if you actually look at her statements and challenge them, as I hope somebody will, how many of our candidates has she met?
Well, she might have been reading the same reports that I've been reading, where Reform UK candidates have said some pretty extraordinary things. There was a candidate in Scotland who appeared in the Times this morning who had called J.K. Rowling a female, a misogynistic insult beginning with a B, called the same of just about every woman politician in the country, and called both David Attenborough and myself the C word.
Well, that is not acceptable. Nobody's saying that is acceptable. But you're taking the words of one candidate, and there are several more candidates that you could pick on. Including candidates that we've expelled and suspended and all the rest of it. But we had a vetting procedure. We had to find a large number of candidates in a very short space of time. All parties have had problems of one sort or another. Many of them have had problems with sitting MPs, let alone candidates. Now, the crucial thing is how we deal with that.
I think that is a fair point, and I think it's one that many people could understand. I'm not sure, however, that is a point that sits out of line with what this defector had to say. She herself said she doesn't think that Nigel Farage or the leadership of Reform UK is racist, but that there are problems with these candidates. In fact, that goes in line with what Richard Tice and Nigel Farage have said, that you hired a vetting company that didn't do its job. Many of these candidates are duds.
And that's absolutely true. The vetting company did not do the job that we expected it to do, and it failed to find things that the media and the opposition parties have found very, very quickly. But that's a separate issue. I think the main issue is our message. And that message is being put out by very, very good and loyal and decent candidates. And let me say this, I've just come off a 9-day tour of the country. I've met candidates up and down the country, north, south, east, west, and I haven't met any of these horrors. And some of them I would be very, very proud, had I been a Conservative, to be in Parliament with them. And I would be very proud to see them in Parliament representing us. So, I'm not denying there are some bad apples. Nobody's denying that. But it doesn't apply to what Miss David called the vast majority.
Well, Anne Widdecombe, really appreciate your time this evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on State of the Nation.